Hey, Shinirelu21 back here again for another deck profile. I'm also making a video for CK8610's contest again. This time he's giving out a raw yellow box set, which will be awesome. It has a bunch of great cards in it, including Newdoria, Cyber Dragon, bunch of elemental heroes, destiny heroes, stuff like that. It would be great to win it. If you want information on how you can join the contest, I'll leave a link to his video. Pretty much you have to comment on that video, like StrikeZoneOnline.com's Facebook page, which they are giving him the box, or they're giving away the box, and then you have to do this, make a video response to the video. So, the Dark World, wow, I just gave it away. The deck profile will be a Dark World deck profile. Most of the cards are from the structure deck, mainly because that's the only way to get some of these Dark World monsters. I also have a thing about my Dark World deck is I also added light monsters. I have 3 Fableds in this deck and Chaos Sorcerer to add kind of like a Chaos backup, I guess you would call it. And I only have 2 tuners. This is not a synchro based deck, but I have the tuners just in case. So let's get on with the deck profile. So first off is Squirmer. Destroyed by battle. You can destroy 1 face up. No, 1 card in the field. He's from the deck. God. This is what happens when I record without a script. Well, I didn't have a script last time. I'll just randomly babble on about stuff like I'm doing now. Anyway, Sangan, search card. Again from the deck. Newdoria from the deck. This is the one from the deck. I had one before. I scrapped a Fiend deck I made earlier. I might rebuild it if I win this box set and get the Newdoria. No, I'm kidding. I'm probably not going to do it. I'll probably make a Newdoria deck though. Card guard from the structure deck. He has a really good effect that you can remove a guard counter from him, which he gets when he's summoned, to keep 1 card that would be destroyed, keep it on the field. I use that effect actually quite a lot to keep my higher monsters to stay on the field. 1 more card. I said before, I have the Chaos Sorcerer from the Dragon's Collide structure deck that my friend bought 4 of them because he wanted like full playset and more of the Red Eyes Darkness Metal. He runs a Red Eyes / Dragoonity / Chaos deck now. He can't really put it together completely yet, but he's working on it. Really tough deck to beat. Now on with the Dark World cards. I have Ceruli, which is probably one of the better of the Dark World effect monsters. When he's discarded, he is special summoned to your opponent's side of the field, and then through your opponent, his effect is activated that your opponent must discard 1 card, and since it's on your opponent's side of the field, that means you, and it's by an opponent's card effect, which activates even better effects based on what Dark World monster you have. That's probably really confusing, but if you read the card, you'll understand it. Scarr, good for searching. Kahkki and Gren. Kahkki destroys a monster, Gren destroys a spell, and if I just say the effect, that I automatically mean that they are discarded by a card effect. Broww, draw power, discarded by a card effect, you draw a card. Opponent's card effect, you draw 2 cards. Snoww, search card. You get a Dark World card, so pretty much that's an automatic Grapha, Sillva, Gold, Latinum if you have him. I don't, but it's a Dark World card, so you can also get Dark World Lightning, Dark World Gates of Dark Worlds, anything like that. Brron, Mad King, Dark World. He has a good effect. When he inflicts battle damage, you get to discard a card by a card effect. Renge, really just have him for defense. He kind of looks like a soccer goalie almost. Like if Yu-Gi-Oh! Tried to branch their franchise out like freaking Nintendo did with Mario, just make like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Soccer game. Dark World have the best goalie. That'd be so stupid though. Beiige, when he's discarded, he's special summoned. I had Beiige, and also you saw if my Broww was rare. I found them, and not that Beiige, but I had these cards before the structure deck came out, and I really did not know how to use them, but now that the structure deck came out, I see so many more ways. Gold. I forgot when he's discarded, same effect of Beiige, he's special summoned, and you can also destroy 2 of your opponent's cards if it's by an opponent's card effect. Sillva, same thing, discarded by a counter effect, you get the special summon, and you return 2 cards from your opponent's hand to the bottom of the deck. I'm not sure if it's random. Your opponent picks. Reign-Beaux has my favorite effect of all Dark Worlds. That he can that when discarded by an opponent's card effect, you destroy either all your opponent's spell and traps or all of your opponent's monsters. Then the cover card, Grapha, Dragon Lord of Dark World. If you discard it by a regular card effect, you can destroy 1 card in the field, and if you discard it by an opponent's card effect, you can look at 1 card in your an opponent's hand, and then if it's a monster, you can special summon it. Also, I forgot to say this when I was showing Snoww, but when Snoww is discarded by an opponent's card effect, you can target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard and special summon it to your side of the field. Now on to my 6 light monsters. As I said before, 3 of them are Fableds. The other 3 I have because they have really good effects, and they are pretty much backup stalling cards, I guess you could call them. I have a Copycat, really good for stalling. Also, if my opponent has a high attack monster, I can use Copycat to attack and destroy it. He copies, I didn't really say the effect, but he copies an opponent's monster's original attack and defense. So that's really good. 2 of the one Fabled Catsith. I can't really say that since I have a bit of a lisp, if you haven't heard already. But Catsith, when he's discarded to the graveyard, you can destroy one face-up card in the field. Fabled Cerburrel, when he's discarded, you can special summon him. So that's 2 really good ways for synchro. But again, I said this is not synchro based, but it does help. I have a Skelengel for draw power. Forgiving Maiden. This is optional. Also, you can switch it out for Renge if you want less space. But pretty much, you can offer her when one of your monsters is destroyed, and instead of them going to the graveyard, you can send it back to your hand. Which, again, for Dark Worlds is a very good effect. And the last Fabled, which is great for Dark World monsters, is Fabled Dianara. When he can be tribute summoned with 1 Fabled monster, so Cerburrel, when he's discarded, you can special summon 1. You can special summon him. Also, let me read it. Yeah, the first normal spell card that your opponent plays once per turn, you can make the effect your opponent discards 1 card. This is pretty much a costless, continuous Dark Deal, which is a great card, and you can attack. Now on to spell cards. If you kept track like I did, that's 24 monsters. I believe I only have 8 traps and about, would that make it 18 spells? I'm not sure. I'm gonna do the same thing I did with my last deck profile and put the list in the description. 2 really good cards, of course. I have 2 dark card destructions. Everyone should know what those do. I run 2 Dark World Lightnings. I did run 3, but I switched 1 out for an MST, because MST is better in situations. But Dark World Lightning, you pick 1 set card in the field, destroy it, and then discard a card, so then it's pretty much a card effect. For searching, I have Different Dimension Capsule. It also helps out with an effective card that I'll show in a minute. Actually, I don't think it would work. Maybe, I'm not sure. I'll have to look up that. I'll have to look that up. Dark World Dealings, draw a card, discard a card. Allure of Darkness, draw 2 cards and banish a dark monster. Being that I added the Chaos base, this also works for one of the cards that I will show later. Pot of Avarice is another good one. Since you're discarding cards, you might want to get those cards back in your deck. And also, for draw power, you can draw 2 cards. what I don't understand is why Pot of Avarice isn't banned when Pot of Greed is, because Pot of Avarice does way more than Pot of Greed. But that's just me. Tearful Coffin, great card for Dark Worlds. Discard up to 3 monster cards from your hand. If you don't have a card destruction, drawing that would really help. If, say, if you have Grapha, Ceruli, and Beiige in your hand, maybe. Doesn't really matter. I always like to have Reign-Beaux and Ceruli in my hand. Good effects. Monster Reborn, and if you can't see a little, it's kind of beaten up in the top corner. I'm glad I have card sleeves, but everyone knows what Monster Reborn does. I run 1 Terraforming. Did it come with the structure deck? It did. I have 1 Terraforming and 3 field spells. Like with my machines, I run Mystic Plasma Zone, since a lot of the cards are dark. Gates of the Dark World. I believe it's banish, discard, then draw. Yeah, you have to banish a fiend type from your graveyard, discard a fiend type from your hand, and then draw a card, and also fiend types and gain 300 attack and defense. And this is the card I mentioned before with Different Dimension Capsule. I'm not sure if it would work, but for Chaos Zone, which came out in the Dragon's Collide structure deck, when you banish a monster, yeah, each time a monster is banished, you place a Chaos counter on this card. Then, when you have enough Chaos counters, you can activate its effect. Where once per turn, you get rid of Chaos counters on the card to special summon one of your banished monsters. And for banishment, I have my Japanese Soul Release. The difference between the Japanese and the American Soul Release would be the American Soul Release has address, when the Japanese Soul Release does not. I got this from my friend Emily, and it was really cool just to have the Japanese one. I saw the original on Dueling Network, so I was like, that would be so cool to have, and she's like, I have one, and I'm like, really? Can I have it? And she said, sure. Now whenever I use it, it's just really funny that the American prints of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, they'll sometimes alter it. Like, for Foolish Burial, for example, the Japanese one, the tombstone is a cross, when the American one is just regular tombstone. There was also one, I think it's like Rise something, and where, like, they pretty much gave the girl a boob reduction. It was really funny to just look up. And these 2 cards, I know you don't get the discard effect, but they're still really good to have, especially for this. Different Dimension Reincarnation and Monster Reincarnation. Let me get the glare off that. Monster Reincarnation, you discard a card as a cost to add a monster from your graveyard to your hand, and Different Dimension Reincarnation, you discard a card to special summon one of your banished monsters, which, again, banishment with Soul Release, banishment with Gates, banishment with the Chaos Sorcerer. DDR is a really good card to have. I actually used DDR on Grapha in a recent duel against my friend. Now to traps, I run Dark Bribe, which you negate a spell or trap, and your opponent draws a card. Forces of Darkness, add 2 Dark World monsters in your graveyard to your hand. I run 1 sock. Actually, I was gonna switch this. I believe I was gonna switch out the Sakuretsu. I don't know where I put it, but I have a Hate Buster somewhere, and now I can't find it. Damn it. Well, Sakuretsu, again, Hate Buster is a really good one, because it's kind of like Sakuretsu plus Magic Cylinder at the cost of a Fiend-type monster. Very good effect. Mind Crush, you can discard back. This helps you discard by card effect. Also, if you know what kind of deck your opponent is running, like my friend runs Red Eyes, so I can activate Mind Crush to get rid of any Red Eyes Black Dragons, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragons that are in his hand. because I know if I'll draw them or not. Mind Crush also is very good with a card known as Convulsion of Nature. I have one. I actually wanted to make a deck. I actually wanted to try to make a deck around it, but I'm not entirely sure how it would work out. I got a Torrential Tribute from a friend. This is actually like the first Torrential Tribute I've ever owned. Torrential Tribute, summon a monster. Whenever a monster is summoned, you can destroy all monsters on the field. I'll save this card for last, because this is like one of the best traps you can have with Dark World. But Dark Deal, you pay 1,000 life points to make an opponent's normal spell card effect turn into just your opponent discards one card. I said earlier, Dianara is better than that, depending on if you can get him out, because as a trap, all you need to do is set it, but Dianara, you have to get him out on the field by tributing the one Fabled, tributing any 2 monsters, or special summoning him with, say, the Monster Reborn I showed you. Escape from the Dark Dimension, I also have. A lot like Different Dimension Reincarnation, where you can special summon a monster. However, Escape from the Dark Dimension is only limited to dark monsters, so that would help, again, like say Grapha. Like how I said, I used DDR on Grapha. I can use Escape from the Dark Dimension on Grapha also. Now this card, kind of beaten up, but I'm glad I have card sleeves, again, as I said, for Monster Reincarnation. I have Forced Requisition. This card will help so much for a Dark World deck. Also, it'll really help Dark World and hate Dark World. Goes back and forth depending on if you're versing it or you have it. But what Forced Requisition does is that you activate this card when you discard a card. But yeah, when you discard from your hand, every time you discard from your hand, your opponent must also discard the same amount of cards. One of the automatic ways I thought of using Forced Requisition was with, what was it? Card Destruction. Which would pretty much happen is, if you have more cards than your opponent, you activate Card Destruction. So you discard, then draw. Then you can activate Forced Requisition, so your opponent has to pretty much discard his entire hand that he just drew. I think that might work that way. I'm not entirely sure. I want to look it up. But if that works that way, that is a cheap effect, I must say. Now, this is the extra deck. Again, I said, no need for synchros, no real need for XYZs either. But I have them just in case. I have Fabled Unicorn. I actually haven't played with synchros in a long time, so I need to read these effects. While you and your opponent have the same number of cards in hand, negate all spell, trap, and effect monsters' effects activated by your opponent, and destroy that spell, trap, or monster. Good effect. Fabled Kadabi. This card gains the following effect based on the number of cards in your hand. If you have 0, this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. If you have 3 or more, you have to destroy it during the end phase. Good effect. Again, being that it can't be destroyed if you have 0 cards in your hand, that's a really good effect. If you remember watching my other one, I got Broww. His effects are cost, but it's still a really good effect that you can run with. Red Dragon Archfiend, not as easy to get out with this deck, but you can still use it. Say Catsith and what would it be? Catsith and Reign-Beaux you could do, or Cerburrel and a level 2 and a level 4. This one probably is easier. Allied Justice Field Marshal, being a level 9, you can get him out easier with more monsters. I have Fabled Leviathan, which, again, this was actually the first synchro I ever got. I bought it on Yu-Gi-Oh! Mint, and I did not know what to expect because I really saw my friend synchro summon and I was like, what the hell are you doing? What is that? Because I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh! For like 3 years before that. I just got back into it, bought Fabled Leviathan, and I synchro summoned wrong, and she was like, you can't do that. And I was like, okay. But when this card, yeah, you can't really use this effect. Actually, I guess you still can, but when he's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, I can select up to 3 Fabled monsters in my graveyard and add them to my hand. You can't really use that effect with this deck, being Dark World and being I only have 3 Fables, but you can actually still use that, I guess, to add Cerburrel or Catsith or Dianara back to your hand. But again, as I said, isn't synchro based, isn't XYZ based, but they help. The last card, because I can see that this video is going over 20 minutes already. Yeesh. The last one was only 17. I must have blabbered on a lot. Last one is Adrius, Keeper of Armageddon. You only have 2 level 5s in this deck, so really can't work as well. But that's pretty much the deck. I have a couple side cards that I would use if I was say to go to a tournament. I doubt it though, being that my mom does not exactly want to be driving me to a tournament in New York City. But side cards would be Gaga Magician to help with Adrius, Plague Spreader Zombie, ulti rare. Really, Jesus, what the hell? But he can help out with adding chaos counters and synchro summoning. Another Fabled Pegasus. Being a level 1 tuner, he can't really help out that much. But when he's discarded to the graveyard, you can special summon him face down, defense position on your side of the field. I would side an extra Dark World Lightning, depending on how your opponent worked the deck before. And the last card side, I really didn't think of a side deck really, but Chaos End, if it's really only good late game, because you need 7 or more banished monsters in your that has to be banished to destroy all monsters on the field. That's really only good very late game, or if you just activated Gates, what else? Different Dimension Capsule. If that effect works, I'm not sure it can, because it has to be because it's for a card, and pretty much you need to say it's a monster for it. I will look this up after I'm done with this rambling on fest. And also Soul Release helps towards that. One of the best ways I've used Soul Release, because it's for when a monster is banished. So I banish monsters after my opponent uses something like Future Fusion. I actually did that recently and it actually helped me to win, so that was really cool. I pretty much banished all the cards he used for that, except for Eclipse Wyvern, because I know that effect quite well. But that's the deck profile. Sorry it took so long, but if you don't really want to watch this video, which I don't think many people will, since it's about 25 minutes long and I'm just sitting here rambling on, it would be easier if I had a better camera. But that's the deck profile. Again, check out Cyberknight A610's contest. I'll leave the link in the description, and I will see you guys later. Peace.